All right, good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Today's date is September 26, 2022. It is 4 p.m. and this is the Projects and Services Subcommittee meeting for the Livermore-Amador Valley Transit Authority. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Coronavirus Disease Advisory and Meeting Procedure, and that meets Government Code 94953E2 in order to protect the health of staff and the general public. So with that, I will call the meeting to order and ask for a roll call, please.
Okay, Director Halbert.
Present.
Director Josie.
Present.
Vice Chair Brown.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Wonderful, thank you. Our next agenda item is agenda item 3, meeting open to the public. This is a chance for members of the audience or in written format may address the committee on any matters within the general subject matter of the authority for the LAVTA Board of Directors. Do we have anybody that would like to speak? We do ask that you limit your time to 3 minutes.
So we don't have any attendees in the public today in this meeting, and I didn't receive any public comments via email today.
Well, that sure makes it easy. Okay, thank you. I'll close the public hearing and move on to agenda item 4, which is approval of the minutes from May 23rd of the Projects and Services Committee.
Move approval, Halbert.
Second, Josie.
Okay, we have a motion made and seconded. Can we have a roll call vote? Assuming there are no, since we still have no attendees from the public, is there any comments or anything from our board? Seeing none, let's take a roll call vote.
Okay, Director Halbert.
Aye.
Director Josie.
Aye.
Vice Chair Brown.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Wonderful. We're just moving right along. Agenda item 5 is a professional engineering and services for our famous toaster, also called the Shared Autonomous Vehicle Mobility Hub on Central Parkway. Can we have a staff report, please?
We do. So good afternoon. Since this is the only action item on the agenda, I'll try to make it quick. So as I mentioned at the last month's board meeting, phase 1, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we sure can.
I'm using my laptop today, so hopefully it works out better than my desktop. So phase 1 of the SUV project was completed late last year. Staff is currently working on phase 1.5 or the interim option while we lay out the foundation for phase 2. So what's going to stand out in phase 2 is the speed and also the size of the vehicle, as well as the cool and functional mobility hub. So the item in front of you is to approve a contract task order with Kimley Horn for the development of the PS&E document for the design of the mobility hub that's going to be on Central Parkway. Phase 2 includes 2 hubs, one at the BART station and one at Central Parkway. And this phase is just for the design of the hub on Central Parkway. The reason why this is a task order instead of a contract award is because Kimley Horn is currently on our bench for engineering services. So the funding, again, for this project is through Regional Measure 2. We received $150,000 through RM2 for this phase of the program, and the remaining balance will be absorbed through our underruns in the capital budget. So there's more information on the schedule, work, and deliverable in attachment 2 of the staff report. And please note that the exact location of the hub has not been decided. This is one of the many things, this will be one of the main things that we will collaborate with city staff as well as the business owners on as we move on along on this project. So with that, staff is requesting that the Project and Services Committee recommends the Board Director approve Resolution 36-2022, authorizing the interim Executive Director to execute Contract Task Order 1 between LAVTA and Kimley Horn Associate for professional engineering services for the SAV Mobility Hub on Central Parkway. So I'll be happy to answer any question you might have.
Okay, we've got clarifying questions. Board member Josie.
Thank you. I appreciate that we're doing everything we can to move this forward while we're delayed on the vehicles themselves for the next phase. I just have a couple of questions. The first I should already know, and I apologize for not knowing the answer to this myself. Did Kinley Horn do the design work on phase one?
Phase one did not have any construction project, so no. I think
Okay.
all the signs that we put up were done in-house by our
Okay.
facility folks.
Okay, and I know that Kinley Horn is already one of our on-call, and this isn't it's just a task order, not a proposal. We didn't look for any other engineering firms. We just decided to go with Kinley Horn. Is that correct?
Yeah, we issue an on-call RPO, I think back in April, May. So, and there's multiple disciplines within that scope of work, and bus stops, and bus shelters, one of those categories, and they score the highest among the 3 firms that are currently on our bench.
Okay, so we did have the other 3 also submitted.
Yes,
Okay,
but based on the ranking, Kinley Horn had the highest score for that category.
okay,
And that's how we will proceed with that on-call contract, is whoever scored the highest in each of those disciplines will get the contract for that category.
okay, okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Supervisor Habert.
So, I mean, this seems to be a clear long-term commitment to the shared autonomous vehicles.
We hope so, but again, this is just the design phase of the project. There's about $2.7 million in RM2 funding that we're seeking for this project. So this was the one of the 2 requests that would be submitted for that pot of money.
So I understand that, but you know, I mean, I don't want to spend the money, even 160,000, unless we're firmly committed to spend the 2.7 million. And I don't want to spend the 2.7 million unless we're firmly committed to shared autonomous vehicles. And I don't know that we're quite there. We like them, but you know, how many rides is it going to take to have a reasonable payout of 2.7 million? And how many rides are we expecting? And is that, you know, the next 50 years worth of shared autonomous vehicle rides, or are we expecting a lot of people to use this shared autonomous vehicle? I don't know that we've really hit a firm go on a long-term go, no-go decision yet. We like it. We continue to monitor it and all that. But and I say that because I'm also getting people complaining that BART ridership is down, and why do we need a parking lot that we've committed to $20 million, $30 million, $40 million worth? We're committed to it, but the notion that you know, ridership is down and are people going to go back to work in the same patterns and all that, are they going to use shared autonomous vehicles? I don't know. I want to say yes, but I just don't know that we're there. Anyway, be that as it may, that's just my 2 cents. Not that I'm not committed to this, not that I don't support this per se, but I just have to call that out as a question. But I see that Jean has her hand raised, and I'm sure she's going to shed some more light with her comments.
I bet she will be enlightening. Yes, Jean Josie.
Well, my comment was going to be to push back on that a little bit, that I think that that we certainly can spend this money now and still evaluate the 2.7 million when we get there. If we don't do this now, we will be certainly delaying what we can do when we get to the decision point on the 2.7 million on phase 2. I mean, I agree with you that we need to be cautious. We need to reevaluate what we're doing because of the disruption that was caused by the pandemic and people not being on BART. I don't think the final chapter is written on that as to what commuting patterns are going to look like. The final chapter has been written on what the future of transit is going to look like. But I think that we're still in the pandemic and we're still in the suppressed ridership. I think people are going to go back into the office eventually. How many remains to be seen. But I think if we don't move forward on this at this point and see what our phase 2 pilot is going to look like, then we will have a missed opportunity. And even if it's not, if the purpose of this doesn't become just last mile connection to BART, I think that still an SAV pilot is the right thing to do. We've got Valley Link coming in, and I think you are fully supportive of Valley Link, and Valley Link transitions at the BART station. And so I don't think we should be looking at this as last mile connection to BART so much as it is connection between the office parks and the station that is there, whatever trains are being served by that station that is there. So I don't think we should be delaying this. I think we should be moving forward on it. I just want to make sure that we're moving forward in a smart way, which is what my questions about Kimley Horn were about. I've been impressed with Kimley Horn's work most of the time that I've been working with them. My last interaction with them on a different agency was less impressive, shall I say, than the work that I've seen them do in the past. So I want to make sure that we are monitoring that very closely, making sure that we are getting their best. This is going to be a smaller contract than some of their others, and I want to make sure that we still get their best, even though it's a small contract. So I personally would be supportive of this while still saying, we want to make sure that we're being good stewards of the agency's money, but SAVs are the wave of the future. And for us to say, well, BART ridership's down, so do we want this connection to BART, I think would be a missed opportunity for us to looking at the big picture. So that's all.
All right. So by the way, I could agree with the comments of Kimley Horn and their capabilities, agree with the future of transit, agree that I hope SAVs are the wave of the future. I just don't know that we've proven that yet, but that's okay. Better to be prepared. But I won't be supporting the expenditure of the 2.7 until I feel, and that we all feel, and we'll have a discussion about it at that time, that SAVs truly are there. So they're there. I hope they are. I hope it is. I really do. I just want to make sure that it is. But anyway, that's fair enough. Good comments.
Great comments, and we're still in the question phase. I do have a couple of questions if I could there, Tone. Usually you have a contingency of about 10%. In this case, you're asking for the 150 plus the 10,000 out of remaining balance through our transit line. Do you need a contingency on this? You don't even know the location yet.
You're correct. Typically, we do have a 10% contingency for this type of contract. But we did work closely with Kimley Horn to refine the numbers, and it will be a firm fixed price. So we will keep it under the posted amount.
Okay. But we don't even know the location. Don't you think that would affect the price?
That's already built into the schedule.
Anywhere within Dublin.
The meetings. So
okay, for the hub.
Yeah.
My second question, and it was commented earlier, I should know this, but when we refer to regional measure 2 funds for whether it's 150,000 or 2.7 million, what are regional measure 2 funds? Where's the source of that?
Bridge tolls.
Hey, bridge tolls. Thank you.
Bridge tolls. Yes, it's the same funding source that we get about $500,000 a year to run the BRT, but these are capital funds, and it was a competitive grant.
Okay, so the 2.7 million would also come from RM2 funds?
the total is 2.7. The first allocation request is for the 150 of the 2.7.
Right.
So
then-
if we don't proceed with the 150, then we wouldn't be able to ask for the remaining 2.5.
I totally get it. But the 2.7 would come from RM2 funds, which are usually
Right.
only about $500,000. And now you're going to find a $2.7 million grant somewhere.
Well, this one we have been approved for this grant already. Jennifer Yeamans took care of it like a year and a half ago, something like that. So it's been approved. They're just not giving it to us all at once because they want to make sure that we do the first phase before they give us the money for the second phase. Can't blame them. They got to be good stewards of their money too. And so it's a separate pot because it's capital versus the operating. The operating we get because of our location.
Mhm.
They had a geographic equity kind of thing. So we've been getting that RM2 money for like 12 years. I think
I
since
know, I just keep
2011.
going, what is it? I keep forgetting. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you. RM2, I got the big bridge tolls. Okay, all right, with that, do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak on this, Jennifer?
So I see that there's one attendee. If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand. They are not raising their hand, so I don't believe they would like to speak.
All right, sounds good. I will close the public hearing, bring it back to our board and see if board member Josie would like to start.
I'll move the item.
I'll second, and we are seconding resolution 36-2022, authorizing the interim executive director to execute task order 1 between LAVTA and Kimberly Horn. Okay. All right, let's take a roll call vote.
Okay, Director Halbert,
Aye.
Director Josie,
Aye.
Vice Chair Brown.
Hi.
Motion passes.
Okay, we're moving forward on that one. Could we have an interim executive director's report?
Sure may. So for the first 3 weeks of September, our ridership was up about 30% over last year, which is not as high as other months have been. But the week where it was 110 degrees, our ridership dropped kind of as expected. Also, the week that we pulled off that amazing 12 bus operators at Dublin High, our ridership wasn't quite as high as usual. The buses were still full, but they weren't as full, I noticed, because I went out there. So I don't know if the kids, like that first day when we were trying to scramble to get the buses, it took us an hour to get there. Did they find another way home? And then on the other days, maybe they hung out at school and had their parents pick them up later, or maybe they found another way home, or maybe they didn't go home and they went and got pizza. I'm not sure, but there weren't quite as many kids on that bus. So still good ridership, but just not quite there. And we notice that when it rains or when it's ridiculously hot, that our ridership does go down. I don't know if now people work from home. In the past, I think they just took a cab or they found another way. But I think now they call their boss and they're like, it's 112 and I got to take a bus. Can I please work from home? So that's my guess, but I don't know that for sure. You guys have heard a ton about the amazing things that we were able to pull off. We, as in the operations team, for Dublin High. So you've already heard all about that. I included the SAV just to acknowledge the SAV, but you already heard all about it. There's nothing more to add. So that is the SAV. The parking garage, I am very pleased to announce the Board of Supervisors approved last week. I missed that part of the meeting. I somehow got in there for the 4-hour rodeo discussion.
Oh, no.
So very interesting discussion, but I was in another meeting, and by the time I came in, the parking garage was over. So I had to contact Supervisor Hobart to find out if it passed.
It was not that interesting, trust me.
Oh, the rodeo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you might have thought it was,
I don't know. I read about it in the paper.
Yeah, it was just very long, I will say.
Yes.
It was very long. I kept coming in going, did they get to my, oh no, they're still on that. Okay. So but I listened to the supervisor's discussion. That part was actually quite interesting. But they did approve the contract between us and the county. GSA staff did not think that the supervisors would approve it because we did not have an approved agreement with the state. I did sign the agreement with the state last Friday. Now we're just waiting for them to have their 10 people who have to sign it. But it's already been through their legal and literally, I mean, they have a whole hierarchy of departments that it has to go through. So it did pass. And
we had questions about it, by the way, or somebody spoke about it and tried to side rail it, but I didn't share that part with you, Tamara, but it did pass unanimously. Yeah.
Yeah, were they trying to side rail it because the agreement wasn't signed or for a different reason?
Agreement wasn't signed. It's over budget. You haven't started yet. It's been 3 years. All of the above.
Can't start till we get the agreement signed.
All
And
of
that
the
was the
above.
GSA's concern, was that if they couldn't get the supervisors to pass it and it had to wait another month and a half, it was going to cost them 1.5 million more. And so it was really imperative that the supervisors passed it in terms of their budget and their timing and their stress levels. So I really appreciate that it did go through. But we will have the signed agreement hopefully very soon. And they've already directed McCarthy to get working. So we should be.
And we will have a groundbreaking.
Yes, the end of
phase 2.
October.
Yeah.
GSA staff reached out to us and instructed us to take care of that. So Tony will very happily be planning a groundbreaking for sometime the end of October. Fingers crossed that's not the one day it rains in California, because that's LAVTA luck. So, other than that, although it's not on my report, I'll just share it anyway, since it's a committee meeting. I think you guys are aware that we have hired a capital projects manager. He starts November 12th. But he came out today to take a tour because he and his family, his wife and his newborn baby, were up here this weekend looking at houses. So they are down, they've narrowed it down to 3 houses in Lathrop. So he'll be a neighbor. I gave him all the lowdown on Lathrop because he's like, I didn't see any homeless people. And I was like, oh no, this isn't Ventura County. No, they're very different. So he's very excited to be starting. We haven't wanted to jinx it. We've been like afraid to get our hopes up. But it looks like he'll be here mid-November. So very excited. We have a lot of capital projects that we have the money to do. We just haven't had the staff to do it. So excited to get those started.
And what is this new capital projects manager's name?
Oh, Nathan Barreras. And he works for, Tony, correct me if I'm wrong. He works for the city of Oxnard in Ventura County. I keep reversing it.
On the beach.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's selling his place down there and moving up here. So I'm very excited.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. All right. So preview of upcoming projects and services agenda items. I don't see anything on your list. Do we have anything like comprehensive or reviews of our ridership numbers in terms of satisfaction reviews or anything, reconsidering routes, changing routes because of lack of ridership, anything like that?
Tony, you want to answer that?
Yeah, the long range transit plan
Yes.
is currently underway with Nelson Nygaard, the same people that did our short range transit plan. And so they've just started work on that. And there will be a board workshop to be scheduled for late October. And I'll be sending out a request, a poll to see what days and times everybody is available the last week of October. Maybe we can do it around the groundbreaking and we'll just combine the two things.
All right, that sounds great. That's the long range transit plan. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. All right. Any matters initiated by committee members? Oh, they're one step ahead. Okay. So our next meeting is October 24th, which sounds like towards the end of October. So we might be combining this meeting with who knows what long range transit meetings. All right. So with that, our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.